In March 2012, I was diagnosed with non-small cell lung cancer, stage 3B. Before I started treatment, one of the things that I had pushed for was to get a second opinion. The second opinion I actually got here at Dana-Farber. He said, Mr. Nelson, we're going to fight for you as hard as you fight. We're going to use all the tools in the toolbox to help you in your situation. I knew then I was at the right place.
My name is Dr. Nadine Jackson McCleary. I'm a medical oncologist and clinical investigator. I have cared for patients at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute since 2009, connecting patients to the best treatments for their cancer. For some, this includes participating in clinical trials. Clinical trials provide doctors with new ways to treat an illness. They also help us understand the safest and most effective ways to treat cancer. They provide patients with new types of treatments. Although cancer affects people of all ages, ethnicities, and incomes, historically, most who participate in clinical trials in the United States have represented only a narrow section of the population. Even here at Dana-Farber, we see far fewer Black, Asian, and Latinx patients participating in these vital programs. Patients who don't speak English and those who are older are also less likely to participate. In order for researchers to make the best recommendations and provide the best treatments for our patients, these studies must represent all of our communities. At Dana-Farber, it's imperative to us that cancer research represents our whole population and that everyone is encouraged to participate with equal opportunity.
I think representation in trials is important. It's important to humanity. We are a global world. We all need each other. That's what we're here for. We're here to help one another. We need everybody, because we're all complex, we're all different. We need everybody to participate so that we can make sure that we're addressing these diseases and these illnesses from every aspect.
Although medical research is responsible for all of our life-saving treatments, it has a long and checkered past. This is especially true for Black and brown people who have historically been exploited in the name of medical research. Today, to protect the rights and privacy of our patients, we have very clear and very strict rules and protections for every person who volunteers for a trial. Before any clinical trial begins, a board of researchers, physicians, and community members must review and approve the research plan. This group, called the Institutional Review Board, looks at every detail of the study to make sure it is safe and respects our patients' right to privacy. Even after a clinical trial is approved, this group continues to monitor the study to make sure all these protections stay in place. If any rules are not being followed, or if the study becomes unsafe, they will stop the study early. Patients are also involved in this process. If you are interested in a trial, your doctor or research team will review the study with you in detail to make sure you have all the facts before you decide to volunteer. Most importantly, clinical trials are always 100% voluntary. You are never obligated to join a trial, and you are free to leave a trial at any time.
I feel like I was in total control, that I had the right guidance to help me make the decision for me and my family. I was happy to have a team where they would put the options out there for you and they'd say, we're not going to make this decision for you. We are going to make a decision with you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Narjis Duma. I'm a thoracic oncologist and the Associate Director of the Cancer Care Equity Program here at Dana-Farber. New treatments for cancer go to a comprehensive 3-stage research and approval process before we can offer them to our patients. In a phase 1 clinical trial, patient safety is the primary focus. A small group of volunteers receive low doses of medication and are monitored closely for any side effects over a period of months. If the phase trial shows that the medication is safe, the treatment will be given to a larger group of volunteers for a longer period of time. In phase 2 clinical trials, researchers focus on how effective the treatment is and to monitor the side effects. In phase 3 clinical trials, a larger group of volunteers will receive the treatment over the course of multiple years. Researchers are able to monitor side effects and the impact of the treatment over a longer period of time. The Food and Drug Administration, also known as the FDA, we approve treatments that are at least as successful as the standard available treatment. Let's look at phase 3 clinical trials in more detail. When participating in a phase 3 clinical trial, volunteers are placed into one or two or more groups picked randomly by a computer. Neither the researchers or the volunteer can decide in which group they will participate. Volunteers in one of these groups will receive the new treatment, while those in other groups will receive the existing treatment. Over the course of the trial, researchers compare the outcomes of the groups to determine if the new treatment is more effective than the existing treatment. If the new treatment isn't working or is worse than the existing treatment, the clinical trial may end early. Participants who receive the new treatment can then switch back to the existing treatment.
I was on a standard treatment. My doctor, after the third treatment, he did the scans. He came back and said, this is not working. We need to look at something else. I've invited the research team to come and talk today. There's a potential trial that's available. I'd like for them to talk about it. I'd like for us to talk about it. I think it's important when we're facing different health challenges that you have providers that are going to be honest with you and share with you what options are available to you.
Many patients volunteer for a trial because may improve their health or may provide new ways to treat their illness. Also, as a part of a clinical trial, volunteers are monitored very closely by a research team, including doctors, nurses, and research assistants. Many patients report that they really appreciate the extra medical attention. Participation in a cancer clinical trial can help us understand how treatments work and develop new approaches for caring for others with the same type of cancer or similar features of cancer. While there may be benefits to joining a clinical trial, there can also be drawbacks. Volunteers will likely have additional tests and doctor's appointments. They may have side effects or discomfort. And there is a chance that some patients may not see improved results over the existing treatment, particularly if they are in one of the groups that receives the existing treatment.
Over the next 2 years, I went through like 4 or 5 different types of treatment. They'd come back and say, well, this is not working. They said, we're going to apply for you to be in the trial. Let's see what happens. I felt like, well, what do I have to lose? I was happy that there was another option that was available for me.
My name is Dr. Christopher Lathan, and I'm a medical oncologist and clinical investigator here at Dana-Farber. Since I started caring for cancer patients in 2002, the way we treat cancer has changed substantially. One of the greatest innovations we've had is the use of genetic testing. Sometimes genetic testing is called precision medicine or sequencing. This is when we use a sample, usually from your blood or your cancer tumor, to learn more about your specific cancer. Let's start at the beginning. Our body is made up of small building blocks known as genes. Genes control things like eye color, hair color, and height, and are passed on from our parents. Most inherited genes are healthy, but damaged genes can be inherited as well. Or genes can become damaged over time by things like the sun's ultraviolet, UV rays, or cigarette smoke. Most of the time, the body can eliminate these damaged genes before they become a problem. If not, they can turn into cancer. Genetic testing lets us look for these damaged genes and determine if they were inherited from parents or developed later in life. Genetic testing can help us create a more targeted treatment plan and find clinical trials that are suited for your specific cancer. It can also help us understand why a treatment may not be working. Some patients go through genetic testing and find that there's no available treatment for the genetic change found in their cancer, or that they're ineligible for existing clinical trials. Genetic testing is not always covered by insurance and may require additional tumor or blood samples. Just like clinical trials, genetic testing is entirely voluntary. Doctors will first ask for consent and approval before any study of a patient's genetic background, tumors, or blood samples can begin.
The reason I participated because when I was diagnosed with cancer, I realized that this was a journey that I had seen other people go on, and I wanted to make a difference for those people who were coming behind me. I lost my mother. I lost my aunts. I lost people who I love very much. I saw them go through very painful situations for years and years and years. My mother was a terminal cancer patient for 18 years. This was my opportunity to give a little bit something back, and that's the way I saw it.
While cancer impacts everyone, regardless of race, ethnicity, or income, participants in genetic testing and clinical trials are overwhelmingly white. Black, Asian, and Latinx populations are severely underrepresented. We also see reduced participation among the elderly, as well as non-English speaking patients. This is a serious health equity issue. Clinical trials can benefit patients, but without increased representation, these benefits will not apply to all patients equally. In order for us to find and recommend the best treatments for everyone, participation in research must look like our community. There is still work to be done by hospitals, doctors, and researchers to ensure everyone has the opportunity to be included in cutting-edge cancer research. But progress begins with a single step. At Dana-Farber, we feel strongly that inclusivity will not only provide more comprehensive research for patients all over the world, but will also better serve our communities. To learn more about clinical trials and genetic testing, please visit www.dana-farber.org/research/clinical-trials.
I am so happy that I had an option for a clinical trial. And I'm so happy that the option for the clinical trial opened doors for me and extended my life. If you see yourself faced in a critical situation where a clinical trial is your only option, embrace it and just embrace it.